Okay, so hello everyone and welcome to this panel discussion session. So we guys are from IIM Lucknow. So the agenda of this webinar is basically to aid you guys in your preparation and to help you converting the call of IIM Lucknow. So we are first going to introduce ourselves. Then we will walk through some of the basic HR questions, and then then we guys are going to share our experience of the personal interview. So I'll start first. So my name is Yash and I am from Nagpur. I did my graduation in industrial engineering from Nagpur University. Post that, I worked for 18 months in a manufacturing firm, and it has been 7 months in the campus, and I'm already in love with the campus. In the coming this summer, I am going to intern with Salesforce India as the marketing intern. Thank you. So Harsh, over to you.
Thanks, Yash. Good evening, everyone. Hope everyone is doing well and safe. I am Harsh here. I'm basically born and brought up in Mumbai, and I did my graduation from IIT Kharagpur in the field of biotechnology. Post which I was working with ExxonMobil, which is an oil and gas MNC, into their global business planning for petrochemicals for 35 months, like close to 3 years. Post which I joined IIM Lucknow over here. The past 7-8 months have been really exciting, and we look forward to see all of you as well soon. In my summers for 2022, I would be working with Amazon in their finance division. Thank you so much.
Lavanya.
So hi everyone, my name is Lavanya, and I did my graduation from Hansraj College in Life Sciences. I'm a fresher and I'm currently pursuing MBA in Agribusiness Management, and I'm looking forward to talking about it as well. And I'll be interning in MasterCard Advisors this summer.
Tanvi.
Hi everyone, I'm Tanvi Maheshwari and I'm from Udaipur, Rajasthan, where I've completed my graduation in computer science and engineering, and I'm a fresher. I'd be interning with Amazon as a program manager in the coming summers. Looking forward to interact with you all.
Okay, so now we guys are going to share our personal experiences of how we felt in that personal interview and what all tips and tricks helped us to ace that interview. So, like Harsh, would you like to start it?
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Yash. So the interview process for me was pretty smooth, and since we were in the midst of pandemic during that time, so they were held online. And I do remember Google Meet was the platform that they had used, so it was a pretty smooth one. And we had one session before the actual interview where we had a document verification process from IIM Lucknow. So using Google Meet was something we got accustomed there as well, and obviously the other calls that we had. Coming to the interview process, there were two panelists. There was a professor, like a male professor and a female professor, and they were both pretty much welcoming. And they asked me how I was doing, how was the day, and started with the salutations and greetings. And so eventually we started with the interview. And for me, the interview revolved around three major aspects. One was on the current affairs, second was on my work experience, and the third was on my engineering subject of probability and statistics. So these are the three major topics, and from the current affairs aspect, they did ask me on the CM of Assam, Pondicherry, if I have an awareness on 7 sister states, because those were the times when they were about to go into elections. Also, on the work experience, what were my learnings and what all experiences I have had in that. That was something that was asked. And in PropStats, probability and statistics department, they did ask me a basics of mean median mode and also what is Bayes theorem and things like that. And then we had a casual chit chat on my work, on like what are the calls I have, what is my take on IIM Lucknow and things like that. So it was a pretty smooth and welcoming interview, and the panel was very much encouraging and motivating. So I think it was a very wonderful experience for me, the interview process. Over to you, Yash.
Tanvi, would you like to go next?
Sure. So, like as Harsh mentioned, so it was a very smooth process. The interview held on the Google Meet. We were allotted a particular time, so we had to join in then, and then the interview started. So I do remember there were two panelists, and both were male. So they welcomed me with a smile, and like my interview, it revolved around around my introduction, around my hobbies, and as I'm a fresher, so they asked me about my internship. And then general awareness questions. So at the time the farm laws, it was on a hike, so they asked me a question regarding like what is my take on that, and then the regular chit chat regarding why do I want to do MBA, in which stream, why that stream. So like I mentioned that I want to do in marketing. So they asked me like why marketing, and I do remember they asked me basic questions around that also, and 2 to 3 basic questions on my undergraduation. So yeah.
Lavanya.
Yeah, so I particularly gave the interview for agribusiness management. So obviously, it was all of the questions were directed towards agribusiness. Now, since I'm not from a business background, so agriculture was the topic that was being discussed mostly. So the three farm laws at that particular time, the protests were and all were going on. So a lot of questions were asked from that. Plus, my educational background is life sciences. So now your education background plays a very important role in any of your interviews. So as the pandemic is still going on, a lot of questions from the COVID pandemic were asked, and a lot of them were actually my opinion on the different things. So as my experience is a little different from Tanvi and Harsh, they were all welcomed very warmly. I wasn't. None of the professors were actually smiling, so I had to make them smile. So I had to smile all the time so that okay, they can see and maybe smile as well. Apart from that, yes, current affairs were asked, but then mostly it was directed towards life sciences only. So yeah, that's it. Yash.
Yeah, so talking about my experience, I would like to agree, like my experience has a lot of inclination with Lavanya's, because my interview started with a lot with some grilling. They actually, like as I mentioned that I was from a business background, I am from a business background. So they started asking me questions that how exactly can I improve my business, my improve operations of my business. So I stuck somewhere at that question, but I was able to answer everything that was asked of me. After that, it went basically about my academics, about my work experience, and to all the experiences that I have heard about all the PIs and from my peers and from other members. I got to know this that Lucknow loves statistics a lot because they really put a lot of emphasis on this. And if you have something to do with statistics in your undergrad, so they're definitely going to ask you. So I was majorly asked about statistics and probability, about my work experience, and about like recent elections that were going at that time. So these were all that's all the gist. I can say I can like preferably assume that the panelists were like pretty chill. They were actually encouraging you to speak up. Even if you don't know something, you were like allowed to take some random guess, and like that actually worked a lot for me, I would say. So these are the experiences that we had in our PIs. So now I would like to throw some light on some of the basic questions that is asked generally in all the B school interviews, not just about IIM Lucknow, but about all the interviews. So first question is about why MBA. So this question, this is the like the tiebreaker question for many of the candidates. So like I'll go first about how I made my answers, how I prepared my answer about this, and how I went about the preparation of this answer. So I had a strategy in mind that for every question I am going to link that question to my past experience, to my past life experience, and I'm going to collect one such instance in life that I would be resonating a lot with that question. So in that YMBA answer, I had 2 to 3 points. Like started from childhood, I mentioned that I have a business, I have an experience of working in business environment from very early in my life because of my family business. So I then like connected that part with my graduation part, like how I worked in many committees, many organizations. Then coming to my experience, which I had, how like I mentioned that how I just want to get a bird's eye view of how exactly all the functions of business runs. So this was my answer. This is how I prepared. I actually made a story and I jotted down all my points based on that story. So yeah, that was how I prepared. So Tanvi, would you like to go next?
Sure. So, like as Yash mentioned, it is a tiebreaker question, I must say, because at times, like in my even like talking about my IIM Lucknow's interview, so there were instances when I was not able to answer the question, but I felt this was the question that made the difference. So, like Yash, I also come from a business background, and I connected that story because what they want to know in the why MBA and tell me about yourself is like who they are welcoming to their business school. So yeah, I mentioned that I come from a business background where I've talked to clients, I've done the negotiations and everything. Then I talked about my engineering, that during the engineering I was connected to the people related to IIMs but during my campus ambassador program, and then the internship that I did at IIM Udaipur. So I connected their story and then made my why MBA answer. So this worked for a fresher, and then how it will help me as a fresher to grow exponentially and get a little knowledge of the corporate life before entering to the corporate world.
Okay, so Harsh, over to you. And Harsh, I just want you to, put some light on this topic that you are from IIT. And they would might have asked you that why, do you want to do an MBA from IIM after passing out from IIT? So please, help the candidates with this also.
Yeah, definitely. Sure, Yash. So, for me, when I think about why did I personally want to do an MBA, so coming from IIT Kharagpur, and then I was working with MNC, that is ExxonMobil. I worked there for 3 years, and what my experience there was that you do grow up the ladder, but if you want a fast-paced growth, having a post graduation degree definitely helps. And then the options that remain for engineers like us is either go for an MS or go for an MBA. So I was pretty much clear that yeah, if I want to go for an MS biotechnology is something that my background was, and I don't want to get into that. So then MBA was something that really excited me. And again, as you and Tanvi, I also come from a business background. So that's somewhere you have a knack of, yeah, definitely that you want to be in the corporate world if you want to be there, and you want to do well. So having an MBA and that's something that really helps to fast pace your career growth basically. So my goals were crystal clear that yeah, I want a fast paced growth in my career, and for that an MBA would help. But also at the same time, I would say that doing an MBA just for a career objective is not something that one should have in mind. For majority of the listeners that we have over here, this will be one of the last chances that you have for learning something, or to have that exclusive 2 years to learn something and to network with people. So I would say that take this opportunity not only from the career perspective, but also from the perspective that you will not be devoting 2 years exclusively for learning anywhere again in your life. Most probably, more than 90% of the people won't. So just try to take this opportunity that ways and try to frame an answer related to that as well. And that's something that would also, I believe, boost you towards your MBA goals in future. So that's all I have to put over here, Yash. Thanks.
Lavanya, over to you. And I also want Lavanya, like you would have been asked why ABM specifically. So if you
Yeah.
can, throw some light on that, that would work
Yeah,
actually.
absolutely. So first of all, I am not from a business background. I would like to highlight that here. So they obviously have some point as to why they want to pursue this. I did not. So I connected it with the kind of committees I've been previously in my college. So Delhi University, anybody who is listening, who is from Delhi University knows the kind of stress that we have on societies and committees. So yeah, we can connect that particular thing to why we want to pursue an MBA. Plus, anything you want to pursue in life is because you want to learn something new. That you need to highlight. You need to show how motivated you are towards learning whatever they're teaching. Okay. And apart from that, ABM. So why agribusiness management? I'm from a life sciences background, and maybe unlike Harsh, it is not something that I didn't want to do forward in my life. I did want to continue in that area, but then a reality check, maybe it won't be possible in India. So I wanted a pathway where I can pursue my life sciences as well, along with a career that would help me actually earn some money in my life. So agribusiness management, and in agribusiness management, what exactly do you learn? You learn the basics of the agribusiness world in India and abroad. And half of the course is actually just biology. So that really interested me and actually helped me a lot here. So most of the courses here are very different from what I've learned before. And initially, it is a little difficult for anybody coming from a background that has no mathematics at all. But then having an ABM actually helped me a lot. I was doing something that I was interested in. I have done something before. It was like a comfort zone to me. It is still a comfort zone to me. And yeah, that's it.
And some instructions, guys, here. Like peer-to-peer learning, placements, these are all the perks of an MBA and not the sheer motivation for you, right? Even if it is, but you don't have to, you don't, you should not mention it here. So the learning parts that you're going to receive from this program, the peer-to-peer learning, all these, these are the secondary things that you would want to mention and not the primary things. So prepare a very substantial answer for this question, because I guess that this question is going to be asked in, like, almost every other B school interview. So yeah, be well prepared with this.
Yeah, adding
This,
on to that,
yeah.
it is very important to have a story in your mind. So what most of the interviewers love is that you have a story about your life. Even if it might not seem to you that you have a story, you do have a story. Everybody has a story. Everybody's stories is different. You can listen to my story, you can listen to all of the panelists' story here, but then your story will be different, and that is what they want to know. They want to know what kind of a person you are, and that's it. You don't have to give some very high short answer. You need to be true to your own self.
Okay, so guys, we have a question here with us. Like, someone asked that what are the chances of converting an IIM Lucknow call for a fresher? So Lavanya, Tanvi, you guys can answer this best. Over to you, Tanvi.
Okay, so there are really high chances of converting a fresher into the IIM Lucknow. So what they are like in our batch itself. So majority of a batch consists of fresher itself and like uh, from 0 to 12 of the work experience. So like what they are looking for is your zeal to learn something new, right? As Lavanya mentioned. So if you become true to yourself, like they just want to know, okay, this is the person they are onboarding onto the campus, and we can see that this is the person this person has the enthusiasm to learn. So there are really high chances of being a fresher converted, be it from any background, engineer, BMS, law. So we have everyone here from doctor to lawyer on our campus.
Lavanya?
Yeah, so it doesn't really matter much actually. So initially, I think Tanvi thought of the same thing, that maybe being a fresher would be a disadvantage, but it's absolutely not. I mean, the interviews were directed towards, for us, it was directed towards maybe our internships or the kind of committees we have been. And for them, it was towards their work experience. So not much difference. Even if you're a fresher, it doesn't really matter much. You just need to focus on your own self and what you have rather than what you do not have.
Okay, guys. So moving towards the second important question is, like, how exactly are you going to introduce yourself? And believe me, aspirants face a lot of problem, not because they are not well prepared, but they get some very varied suggestions from many people, like how exactly they should proceed into this area. So like we will talk, we are going to give you some guidelines on how you are exactly going to prepare for this question. So yeah, starting from you, Harsh.
Okay, thanks, Yash. So, firstly, introduce yourself is the question that would be the first question that you would be asked starting for your interview, right? So, this is the exact platform that you need to streamline what you want the interviewer to ask you. Because majority of the times, interviewer will pick up something from your introduction, and the whole interview will proceed towards that. So, whether you want to, like, you want to talk about your work experience, you want to talk about your graduation, you want to talk about your other activities or some hobbies that you pursue, these are the broad topics that you usually involve in an introduction, and that's what will be the talking points in the further part of the interview, right? Because majority 99% of the times they will pick up something from this and they will ask you, because nobody is a Buddha here. Nobody expects that you know everything, but well, whatever experiences you have had in your life or whatever you are pursuing in your life, they expect you should know quite a bit about that. So your introduction plays a major role in shaping the path of your interview. That's what I believe. And that's why you should be very much prepared about having knowledge about everything that you speak in your introduction as well. That becomes super, super critical. You can't you can't miss out on points. Like if suppose you say that cricket is something that you pursue, and if you have been asked a basic question on cricket and if not able to answer it, it won't be a good sign. So do try to involve things in introduction on what you want to talk about and on what you are confident you are prepared about. So that are a few key points that I have from the introduction perspective. Thank you.
Lavanya, you want to share something?
Yeah, so I totally agree with Harsh that you should include things that you can talk about. And you can actually play a very smart game here. If you solely talk about the things that you know that you can maybe have a 1 or 2 minute conversation, it'll be very beneficial for you. And the interviewers over there, they know what you're doing. So they know that you have to talk about these things, and those particular things will highlight your personality. So be very smart about it.
Tanvi, over to you.
Yeah. So, like almost all of the interviews, they start with this question, like, tell me about yourself. So, what the panelists expect that, of course, okay, they'll ask you some question regarding the general awareness. Okay, it's okay, you don't know. There are some questions about the academics. It's okay, you don't know. But you should know about yourself. So, this is a head start. Okay, so here you can tell everything about, you can talk, you want to talk to in about yourself in the interview, so you would be the driver, right? So like you can talk about your hobbies, your committees, and like even in the tell me about yourself answer, you can include a little of like why do you want to do MBA, like it should relate, it should be there somewhat in your introduction. So like that's what I did. I started by telling like the basic things about me, like this is from where I do belong, about regarding my engineering, then talking about my committees, then talking about my qualities, my father's business, because I wanted them they'll ask the questions on that, and then my hobbies. So I mentioned them because so you it's up to you that what are the things that you want to include. You can start from your recent experience to the and then go to the past. You can start from the past and then go to your recent experience. So the structure, it totally depends upon you, right? But like as people say, so there are some people say that like whatever you say in the end, the panelists, they are going to remember that, right? So in some interviews it happened, so I kept the hobbies on the last, and I was asked like in most of the interviews questions regarding my hobbies, and I was able to answer. But like you should like have in and out knowledge of whatever you are saying in your introduction, because this is the thing that will matter. And like as Lavanya said, like some of the interviewers, they might not welcome you with a smile, but this is your chance to make them smile, right? So they will know, okay, this is the person that I'm talking to, and these are the questions that I might ask. So yeah, thanks.
Okay, so for me, like as I mentioned, that I used to make a story, make the answers like a story. And guys, believe me, this is the question that will help you to drive the interview according to you, as how you want it. Like for me, like as I mentioned, like operations as my interest, operations as my favorite subject during my graduation. So like I wanted them to ask some questions about operations to impress them, right? So I just mentioned operations as my favorite subject in my introduction. Then I mentioned that how I'm a big time foodie, and just what I believe is, if you approach to n number of guys, they are going to they are going to tell you n number of directions of how to approach this question. But what I believe is, laughter is actually the thing which is going to make the situation for you. If you bring a smile on the panelist face, that is actually going to create that required impact. So what I added is, like, I used to eat for 5 to 6 times in a day. So just adding a humorous thing can really help you. This is what I did, and this actually worked for me. So just a short instruction that make it short yet crispy. Be simplistic, be real, and be prepared for any follow-up questions that they ask you. Because if you are not able to answer on those lines, then it's definitely, then you would land up in a big problem. So yeah. So
Just one point I want to
yeah.
add, Yash. Like many times we get a question that how long should an introduction be? So what we would recommend is don't have an introduction more than 90 seconds and less than 60 seconds. You should be able to talk at least for 1 to 1.5 minutes about yourself. And in that, try to include at least 4 to 5 different points on which the interviewer can ask you questions. Be again, as I said, be it your background, graduation, work experience, hobbies, learnings, anything. So that's just a last point that I wanted to add. Thank you.
Thanks, Harsh. So, guys, now we have with us a very important question. Like, if they ask you something and you don't know answer to that question, so how exactly will you go about it? How exactly will you answer in that situation? So, Lavanya, can you please share like something that you have in your mind?
Yeah, absolutely. So, again, it's very important to be genuine about it. When you don't know something, those interviewers over there, they have been interviewing so many other candidates, so they have a lot of experience. They'll get to know that you do not know the answer. If you start speaking other things, they'll get to know that you do not know. So it's better to just confess that okay, you do not know the answer, and you can still ask them that if you want to give it a shot, they might allow you, they might not. And even if they do not allow you, be very honest about it and just say that okay, you'll try to find out more about it and you'll read about it, and that's about it. And it's very important to smile all the time. It gives a positive vibe, and they also feel like okay, yeah, this is just, we're just a candidate. It's fine if you do not know anything, it's okay.
Tanvi, what was your approach?
I guess same approach as Lavanya mentioned. So yeah, there in the IIM Lucknow interview itself. So it started with the questions that I didn't know the answers about, right? So what was my approach was, okay, I just take a deep breath at that time and like do not like it should not reflect on your face, okay, that you are under the stress, okay. What they are also looking in the interview, that if you are able to handle the stress, because here in the B school it would be rigorous. I'll tell you. So they are also looking that if you can even handle an interview or not. So just don't reflect it on your face. Just smile, take a deep breath, think, and tell genuinely that if you do not know the answer, or like you'll and even if you even if you want to try, say that this is what I think. And like if they show that okay, this is not right, then tell them genuinely, okay, I'll look onto that after the interview. So yeah, this is how you should go about it.
Okay, so Harsh, do you want to add something?
Yeah, I'll just tell one instance of my IIM Lucknow interview where they had asked one question which I didn't have an answer to. So what I did was I bluntly told them that, sir, I'm not aware of this answer, but I can give a shot to the best of my knowledge. But then the professor was like, okay, if you don't know about this, then maybe we can move to the next topic itself. So maybe I would say confession helps that, yeah, I don't know this. I'm sorry for that, but maybe I can give a shot, whatever I know, but then it depends on the professor whether he or she wants to listen to you or he or she wants to move ahead. So I think that helped for me. So just letting you guys know on that, and if you want to take this approach in mind. Yep.
Like I just want to add something, that there were 4 questions in a row that I didn't have exact answers. I was asked the date of the White Revolution, Green Revolution, a Pico moment, and the Chipko moment. Although like I did know like something about them, but yes, I didn't know the exact date. So like continuous those questions, they were popping up, and still it was the starting of my interview, right? So there was the time, okay, it was then a make or break situation for me, that if I'll show it on my face, then this interview, like I thought that I won't be going forward. But yeah, then they saw that okay, I'm still calm, I'm still smiling. Then they moved on to my comfort zone and they asked me then about more of my internship and other things.
Okay, so for me, there were two stages of answering anything if I don't know. So first would be if I know something partially, and the second would be if I don't know anything about that. So if I knew something partially, then I went like, sorry, like sir, if I would have to take a call, it would be this thing. I'm not sure about it, but so it would be this. So you can ask the panelist that if you can take a wild guess or not. The second thing is that if you don't know anything about that, so it's really disadvantageous if you beat around the bush. So you can admit from the front that sorry sir, I don't know answer to this question, but I'm definitely going to check after this interview once. So like this can be an approach which would be followed, and believe me guys, they are not going to judge you on that one or two answers that you're not able to answer. They are going to judge you on how composed you are, how articulated you are, and how well you admit the fact that you don't know something. So this is actually very important, I suppose. So then talking about something related to hobbies, related to your academics, and like something about current affairs as well. So like we individual will share you how exactly we prepared about this different arenas, different areas, and how it helped us a lot in interviews, and what are the different sources from which we can learn and get knowledge of this knowledge about these aspects. So Harsh, starting from you.
Great. So coming to these aspects, so current affairs is something that is really important from the prep perspective. Now, if you come at this stage right now, then budget is something that is coming up. That's something that I think you guys need to be prepared about. And since if you have to do some prep on IIM Lucknow specific, then one thing that really pops in my mind is that UP is going into elections the next month. So there could be some questions based on that as well. So these are some of the burning topics that Lucknow or in general is happening nearby Lucknow. And of course, COVID. Nobody can forget COVID. So these are some of the topics that I think you should not be missing out on, and also just be aware of all the things happening nearby you, not only on an India level, on a city level, on a state level, but also on an international level as well. Because these are some of the things that might come up in an interview and because an MBA is not just about knowing or learning the things, it's about being aware about all the things that are happening nearby you as well. And that's a basic knack a manager should have, right, in future. So there will be an expectation that you are aware of what's happening nearby you. And also at the same time, coming to some of the things like on graduation. So what my experience has been on multiple interviews is that majority of the times they do ask you one of your favorite subjects from your graduation time. It can be, now suppose like my engineering was from biotechnology, so they used to tell me one of the subjects that you liked in your biotechnology graduation times, and then they used to ask me a few questions on that. So what I would recommend is do brush up through the whole course that you have done, but have one or two subjects on which you have extra knowledge, a extra bit of knowledge, because majority of the times the questions can come on that. And also if there's something recent events that are happening in that industry, like say for biotechnology during last year, the latest that was happening was COVID vaccines. So there were a few questions asked to me in some of the interviews regarding that. And on the work experience part as well, the third thing that I would want to talk about is you should know your industry in and out. You cannot miss out on the industry where you were working and what all are the recent things happening within your company and also within the industry that you're working in basically. So these are some of the things that I would recommend you to be prepared on, and also your background. Like suppose when I say I come from Mumbai, I should know or have a fair amount of knowledge about Mumbai. If Lavanya says that she comes from Delhi, she is expected to have a fair bit of knowledge about Delhi. So these are some of the broad aspects that I would recommend you guys to prepare on. And yeah, that's all I have to put in. Thank you.
Tanvi, can you please share like how many subjects did you prepared well for the interview and how you went about the academic part of preparation?
Sure. So, yeah. So, being from a background of computer science and engineering, I did brush up all the subjects of my past semesters, because sometimes they also ask ki like what are the subjects you have studied in your particular this semester. So yeah, I brushed up a little knowledge regarding those subjects. Then like I mastered 2 to 3 subjects, because I know, because if I will not provide them a topic to, talk about, they might ask that what is my favorite subject. So I did, studied like C, CPP, basics of and microprocessors, and I was asked questions upon that also. But luckily, I had calls from all the IIMs, and I was not asked majorly on my ACADS part. But hobbies, I will say, they asked me questions regarding my hobbies. So I mentioned about my poetry, the Spanish language, and I was asked questions about that also, because I mentioned that in my introduction, right? So what they want from you, they will surely ask cross questions, because what they want to know is that if, like, you are passionate, are you even passionate about your hobbies or not? So they'll ask questions regarding that also. And then current awareness, so you should be thoroughly aware about what is happening in the surroundings. So what I used to do is I used to read a lot about the editorial part of the famous newspapers, and also I used to watch YouTube videos regarding the UPSC, because what they give you, they provide you with a detailed knowledge regarding what is happening. So what the panelists expect from you, they just do not expect that you should know about what is happening. They also expect that what are your opinions, what are your stance on on that particular topic. So this you should remember, like sometimes you might ask a question like, if you were this person, so what would be your opinion? And that time you cannot be neutral, you should have your own opinion. So I would say that you should be like very thorough what is happening around, right? Your the place you belong to, Lucknow itself, right? So this is how you can go about it. Thank you.
Lavanya, you would have prepared specifically for ABM as you are specializing in that. So can you please tell like how exactly can someone prepare for ABM as well as how you prepared in your for your academic subjects?
Yeah, so my academic subject is life sciences. Most of the interviewers, I would say, weren't really aware of what life sciences is. So most of the questioning round started with what exactly is life sciences. So I had to prepare an answer for that as well. And so they never really asked me what was your favorite subject in life sciences, because again, they just didn't know. So, but you need to know what your subject is and the recent advancements in that particular area. That is something that is very important. And I was asked that time and again. Even apart from COVID, they actually asked me that apart from COVID, what exactly is going on in that world. Uh, and keeping that aside, agribusiness management in particular. So again, agriculture, that was one of the topics that was discussed. And now the current affairs in that particular area. Yes, you need to have your own opinion on everything and all of the everything that is going on in the world. But then you also need to steer clear of very the things that things that people do not want to talk about, that may be very controversial. So you need to have an answer that is very balanced, not very biased towards one particular area. Because if you have a very biased answer, and if the interviewer or the institute itself is not supporting that particular maybe wing or that particular area, then it can be very harmful for you. So you need to have a very balanced answer. Now, I am saying this from the perspective of the farm laws, for example. So I was asked in almost every interview, what is your opinion on the farm laws? Now, for this particular answer, you have to be very balanced. You cannot say that you have this particular opinion or that particular opinion that is very in maybe a seesaw, you are just inclined towards one particular area. You cannot do that. You have to think about it from the perspective that maybe you're giving a speech to hundreds of people, and those hundreds of people are going to judge you. And not everybody has the same opinion. You cannot think that whatever you're saying is correct and whatever they are thinking is not correct. So that's it. And for my academics also, you need to have a very clear perspective about your academics. You cannot be very haywire with what you have to speak. So in my academics, it was very diverse. I was taught things from maybe the genetic makeup of a human being to how to make a lipstick. So now I cannot mention everything in front of them. I have to be very selective as to what I can mention in front of them. And then I have to keep this in mind that I will be questioned on that particular subject. So yeah.
Okay, so what I believe is that you should be well prepared with
Yes,
at
Shreya.
least. Okay, so you should be prepared thoroughly with at least 3 to 4 subjects, because the first question I was asked in my IIM Lucknow interview was that what are the 3 to 4 major pillars of industrial engineering? So at that stage, it was mandatory for me to answer, the names of those 3 to 4 subjects. So at this stage, if I'm prepared with, only 1 to 2 subjects, and the odds if goes against you, then you would be in a big problem. So I would say that prepare at least 3 to 4 subjects thoroughly. And apart from that, coming towards the like the current affairs part, so I initially started with reading newspapers, but I found that it took me actually a lot of time to go through the newspaper. So what I did is that I went through some of the like current affairs applications that are readily available on the Google App Store, as well as you can watch some YouTube videos. These are very comprehensive videos which actually give you a lot of ideas about the current topics in a mere time of 50 to 50 minutes to 1 hour. So that actually helped me a lot. So yeah, that was all about the academics. And one thing I just want to put a lot of emphasis on is that like be like if it's possible, then don't be biased towards only one side of the topic or only one side of the discussion. Yeah, like as Lavanya mentioned, it can actually create a big problem if if the interviewer does not resonate with your viewpoint. So be somewhat diplomatic in the way you answer to a particular question, And this is actually, very important if that particular topic is, the hot topic running in that country as at that point of time. So, be somewhat diplomatic at some stances. So that would be all. The next question that I want to take here is about how you should prepare questions regarding your work experience and about your internships. So I guess Harsh, you would be the best person here to answer this question.
Sure. So questions from work experience perspective can come to you in two different types. Firstly, would be they would ask you about the details of work experience, like what all you did, or what was the exact work you were doing, what is the industry, what work you were doing, and also somewhere on the line scheme of technicalities and all. They can go into that. The second aspect of work experience or internship type of questions would be on situational and more on the soft skills perspective, like what were your learnings, how did you manage a team, how did you lead a team, such type of questions. So in this type of questions also sometimes work experience related things only come into picture. So for work experience related things, I would say firstly, as I said, have a knowledge of the complete industry that you are working in. Also have a firm knowledge about the company that you are working in. What are their future goals? What are you exactly working on? And also have a end-to-end knowledge about what exactly was your work and what has been your contribution to the company. Like say for example you were into sales or marketing, then what were the sales that you were doing? Suppose you were into product management, so what were the product innovations that you brought in? Just giving you some examples. So having an end-to-end clarity of industry, company, and the work that you did will help you not only in the work experience technical questions, but also on the situational and HR questions that could be posed in front of you. So that's all I think I have.
So Harsh, do you feel that it's very important for you to, to gain some knowledge about your competitors in this, about your competitors in the same industry as well?
I would say at least you should be aware of the big players that are present in your industry and what they are doing, because you would be asked maybe to do a competitive analysis of what strategies you have had and what strategies the competitors have had. I'm not telling that the depth of knowledge that you have about your company should be the level of having competitors' knowledge as well, but you should be at least be able to put 3 to 4 pointers about what your competitors are also doing. So having a fair amount of knowledge definitely wouldn't hurt at this stage.
Very well. Tanvi, so can you please tell that how important, internships as well as, some online courses is for a fresher who is going to interview at IIM Lucknow?
Yes. So, yeah, I do believe that internships and the online courses, they are important, right? Because, like, suppose that if you do not have any PORs to mention in your introduction, then these are the things that would work, right? So you can mention about the online courses that you have done regarding, like, I did. So I did courses on digital marketing. I did internship in marketing also. So it not only aided to my introduction, but it also helped me to develop the answer of my why marketing, because yes, I did the courses in those areas. And in few of the like interviews, I was asked questions regarding the internship of my Ahmedabad experience. So like internship, it's just of 1 and 2 months. So what they expect is that what are your key learnings from that internship, and like how like what was the work over there. So they okay. So because they are interviewing the people with work experience also, and they have a little more knowledge of the corporate world. But internship is a way, it is a midway, like you know that how things work in the business, how things work. So they will ask cross questions on the internships. Yes.
Tanvi, we also have a question for you. As you mentioned that you are from a computer science background. So someone have asked that do they ask you to write a code for something in the interview?
Okay, so no, they didn't ask me to write a code in the interview. So as I've told that my interviews, they were more of the basically of the HR part. So now it depends upon you. Like so in my introduction itself, I mentioned the other qualities about myself. So I was like, I will. So my interviews, they were more of the HR. So they have like 15 to 20 minutes to interact with you. So if you have some other qualities, they will talk about it, and if you don't, then they'll go to the acads part, right? So I was not asked regarding this, but I was just asked basic questions, the difference between CPP, and what are the languages do I know. That's it.
Very well. So guys, moving towards the last question of this session. So many times interviewer ask you that, which stream do you want to, take in your MBA, which stream do you want to pursue in your MBA? So, there are, basically two stances you can go, you can direct say it upfront that you want to go into marketing or finance or something, or else you can be, diplomatic in it. So we are going to tell you that what exactly worked for us and what can actually, what can be the best way to answer this question. So over to you, Harsh.
Yes, if you ask me at this stage, even I'm confused right now as well if I have to choose a stream, frankly speaking. But yeah, in terms of answering that in an interview, you can just say that, see, first year of MBA is where you explore all the different domains that are present. So the safest answer that you can give is that I'll use my first year to explore it and then take a call when I'm towards the end of my first year. But yeah, this is what you can answer, but at the same time do mention a couple of domains that you do find an interest in at this stage. Maybe finance, marketing, strategy, whatever it is. Do not leave the question on the lines that yeah, I'll just explore, because you will keep on exploring in your whole life. It will never end. Even after MBA you will be exploring. So answering in terms of that I'm exploring is good, but also do have an opinion or a couple of domains that you have in mind about this. Yep.
So like even I used this approach. I actually told that I am coming to pursue this course with a very open mind. But if you ask me as of now, I'm very much interested into marketing or operations, whatever you find you seem interesting. And like as of now, I would want to do something in this domain. Like as of now, you should have your your limitations pertaining to this question. It's very much important. So, like, I don't see many questions coming, so I feel that aspirants are very well prepared. So, like, we just want to end this session by, summarizing with our own individual viewpoints. So, starting from you, Lavanya.
Yeah, so I would just like to end this by saying that you just need to keep calm while the interview is going on. It's very important. And just be honest with who you are, and do not try to show something that you're not, because they'll get to know. They'll get to know they have so much experience. So it's better to just be yourselves and just keep calm. Everything will be fine. You do not need to be very overwhelmed right now. So all the best to everyone.
Tanvi, over to you.
Yeah. So I would say smile, know about yourself, know about your surroundings, know about your acats, know about your internship, work experience, and just stay calm, right? So this all worked for me, right? So, and this will work for you also. So all the best.
Harsh?
I'll just add one thing, that do not try to give answers for questions which you are not aware of, or try to give something that is something not correct, because the interviewers are pretty experienced. So do not fall into that trap. If you are not aware, just be ready to say that I am not aware of it. And also, the biggest asset that you go with in an interview is not the baggage that you carry of your experience, graduation, and all that, but your smile. So that's the biggest asset which can win you an interview, and just go with that. And all the best. We look forward to seeing all of you on the other side next time. Thank you so much.
So I'll start by saying that please, 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 and please stop asking questions like, will I be able to convert it with this percentile, with this much marks in 10th or 12th or any other academic streams? Please don't stop, because this is not going to help you anyway. This is, this is just going to add to your anxiety. And believe me, if you're getting a call from any of the Premier B School Institute, you have equal chance of converting that institute. Now it all depends upon your interview, how well you present yourself before the panelists. So be well prepared. Even if you don't know something, it's it's really good to accept it. Don't be afraid that you would be judged on that 1 to 2 questions. You would not be, just be well prepared. You would be feeling that like at some point my interview is going to be scheduled and I'm not really well prepared for it. Trust me guys, you are going to feel it. Even we feel it now, that if some company approaches to the campus, we are not well prepared for it. This is the case with everyone. You are well prepared. Just have some faith in your preparation, and you are definitely going to going to do good. So we just wish you all the best, all the luck in this world, and we just hope that hope to see some of you in the other side next year. Thank you everyone.